Hey guys, welcome to this episode of the Go Mango podcast. I guess we're just doing a news thing. Guess what? KB Toys is back? Question mark? It was reported on LinkedIn, I guess. That's the link I got. That KB Toys is returning. In the wake of the destruction of did I say Toys R Us? I meant KB
Yeah,
Toys.
KB Toys is
you've been,
returning.
yeah,
KB
you've
Toys.
been saying
Okay,
it.
yeah. In the
KB
wake of the
Toys.
destruction of Toys R Us, KB Toys is back. It turns out that the company that bought the name of Toys R Us, KB Toys, sorry, was they were in the middle of trying to come back, restructure, and build a new toy store out of that name. But then Toys R Us went under, and they were like, "Oh frick! Well, we need to fill this vacuum, otherwise kids ain't gonna get their toys." So we're coming back, and they're aiming to have stores open by the end of before Christmas, the
Oh wow.
important season. So
Yeah.
I'm glad we're living in a world where we will not, for the foreseeable future, will not have a toy store in the Christmas season. Guys, what do you think?
So I've actually never been to a KB Toys. I I guess they don't have them in Florida.
Oh my god.
So
You
then
uncultured swine!
living here, I mean, Toys
Okay.
R Us was enough for me, but yeah, and then living here in Cali, it's just been there's just not one near me that I've.
Well, that's because they've closed down recently.
Yeah.
I remember there's only like one in a mall that's nearby us, and it wasn't like the best store, but it sufficed for at least like a toy store in a
I
mall, you know?
I found better stuff, more pointed stuff there than I did at Toys R Us. And it
So
was always closer to KB Toys than it was to Toys R Us.
are
So it
they
was just
smaller
easier for
than
me.
Toys R Us
They
typically, or
are.
what?
They yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I'm legitimately excited. Now if you guys haven't been keeping up with sort of the history behind how Toys R Us had fallen under so much debt, um, and eventually died out. Basically, a company bought Toys R Us, but they didn't have enough money, so they took out either a loan or something, and they got pretty far into debt trying to buy Toys R Us, and then they just put that debt onto Toys R Us, so any of the profits they would have made got dumped into the endless pit of debt that Toys R Us was in. That meant that anything new they wanted to try, any innovations of the toy selling industry, that was all out the window because they had too much debt. And it'll be interesting to see a toy store that can now like funnel money, actual money into like R&D and like how do we get kids interested in toys again? How do we spark interest in toys again? How do we get kids in stores?
Mm-hmm.
I'm really looking forward to this because I want to see toy stores done right. Um, no offense
Yeah.
to Toys R Us, but because
I don't know.
they
Like I personally feel like the toy store is probably going to be dying out pretty soon. Like there might be some niche hobby stores and like certain areas where business would be profitable, but I don't
Mhm.
think something like a Toys R Us is actually like gonna be successful. Like even if KB Toys kind of like ups their game in some sort of way, like I can't see like how they would probably do that because they would just need like physical toys in the store, and for the most part, kids only want what's kind of like advertised on TVs, and you can probably just like look it up on Amazon, and they probably do have it in like stores like Walmart and Target. So there's no real reason to actually like go out to a toy store, even if it is a KB Toys. There has to be like something that makes it more unique. Because like if it just turns out to be another Walmart, even or not Walmart, Toys R Us,
Mhm.
like sure it might come out by Christmas. It might have like good numbers then. If they advertise it well enough, maybe they can last like another couple of years. But I don't see this kind of ushering in like the new era of toys, you know?
I
Like,
cannot tell you how many toys I've bought because I saw them in store. You know what I mean? Like
yes,
Yeah.
I've glanced at them on Amazon. I've seen them on
Yeah.
Amazon, but I bought them in store.
yeah,
Even
but
at like a slight premium. And I know that's not the case for everyone because I'm a collector and that's just what I do. But I feel like there's something to be said for that in-hand physical experience that you're missing with online. You know, you don't get to see it, and that's part of the toy experience.
It's easier for a parent to bring their kid to Toys R Us and have them just explore and enjoy themselves and all the like fun and then find a toy that they want than to have the parent be like, okay, which one do you want? Let me just keep clicking and scrolling and I think it's also that novelty hasn't disappeared where, parents coming in to get their kids something, whatever the case may be, and there's a lot of options, so that it's like the one-stop shop. Although now with Toys R Us closing, that does leave kind of a big void. And like you were saying, Corey, earlier before the discussion when we started recording, 20% of the entire
Yeah.
toy market is Toys R Us specifically. That's not even considering other toy type stores. So
That's not
KB,
that's not even considering stores that aren't toys like
yeah.
Walmart, Amazon, Target, all those big name retailers. 20% of the entire toy industry. When Toys R Us announced they were going under, Hasbro and Mattel's stock they dropped. So in order for toys or toy companies to remain in play, there needs to be that physical aspect and to have a pointed store directly for toys. I feel like there's still a big market for it, especially since you can still do video games there.
Toys R Us is gone. That does leave a void for this new KB Toys uprising to fill, a little bit.
Yeah, well, the peasants of never mind.
It's not really an uprising if there's no one really there to oppress them anymore, It's
Yeah.
like having a revolution when like the government's already been dismantled. It's just toy anarchy at that point.
It's toy anarchy. I mean, at least now there's less, competition for those, for a toy specific store. Although I don't
think
think
a fresh new face into the industry.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I guess technically. Well, I mean, they're not going to rebrand too much, are they? It's still going to be KB Toys, and some people are familiar with it.
The name's
They have
similar, but they have to because kids now their target demographic never knew what a KB Toys was. You know what I mean?
Like even for us, like I feel like we're a bit too old, or not old, but too young for the KB Toys kind of like era, because at least when I was growing up, like KB Toys was never as good as the Toys R Us.
Really?
Like just because Toys R Us was bigger and had more, options for me.
Honestly, to me, like Toys R Us was further, and KB Toys had Godzilla figures. It had Gundam figures. It had Star Wars figures. That's all it was there for. And there's also, I think, something to be said about the store exclusive items. Toys R Us specifically seeked out, like, they ask for exclusives.
Yeah,
the companies don't go, hey, we're gonna make you an exclusive. We're gonna make you an exclusive. That, I mean, like, normally they wouldn't do that because that they would normally operate under a loss. But if they request it, it gets requested, then those orders would be fulfilled. And I feel like with that leverage, with that sort of leverage in the industry that a retailer would have, they have enough pull in the industry to make change happen in terms of how they market, how they sell. You know what I mean?
What I just thought about as a result of that whole exclusive thing. I just am remembering back to my days as a freaking amiibo hunter, and how I hated that certain stores had exclusives on things, especially GameStop, because they sucked so much at getting like the actual order taken care of and making sure people actually got their order, because their system online would crash, their system in the store would crash, and like it was just a mess. So like I'm almost
Honestly, if
sad.
they just take care of video games correctly, I think KB Toys has a shot. Because like GameStop is like one of the
Yeah,
worst places to
it
buy games, but
is.
it like monopolizes the thing. Because like
There's nothing
if you,
else left on the
Yeah, and
market
like
for
I
like
think
yeah,
they're floundering so hard that they're trying to head into the quote unquote collector market and
yeah.
trying to be a premier place for that. But I don't think they're still falling flat because nothing there is anything I want. You guys want.
I mean, there actually is something that I want that I've
I'm
wanted,
sure.
and no other place has it, sadly, and that's the Pokemon Final Evolutions for the starter Pokemon for 7th gen. But
Are those the
that's
statues?
no, those are the plushies.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, like with KB Toys poll, hopefully that'll be rectified.
Right?
Um,
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's like one less place that's going to be demanding exclusives when Toys R Us goes under, and the inevitable hashing of Smash Bros. Amiibo comes out with the announcement of Smash 5 and all
wait,
that jazz. Oh, it's going to happen. They're going to make
wait,
Amiibo.
what's your argument right now? Because I'm
My
pretty sure
argument
if
is,
KB Toys comes back, they're gonna have their own exclusives.
you think
Yeah.
they'll
No,
get the
yeah.
That's
100%.
for sure.
No,
I don't
but
know
Why
how
would
I
Toy
feel
Store
about
not
it.
do that?
I don't know how I feel about it because it's like, okay, one other place that I have to get an exclusive from now, or one other place that Toys R Us doesn't have to.
Okay, you're seeing it from your perspective. You don't see it from their perspective. If they're forcing you to go to their store, they're happy.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
That
true.
and like Target still does it, Walmart still does it. Whether or not it's for Amiibo, they do it for every other toy industry or toy line. You know,
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, if they just have like decked out displays and just handle electronics better than any of its competition does, which is not that hard, they could probably like eat up some of Target and Walmart's kind of like market, because especially like their video game stuff isn't nearly as impressive as it used to be. Like I feel like they've conceded a lot to GameStop,
yeah.
and despite like having a majority of like the major games, it's just like it's whatever.
Yeah. I do hope that they do head into the bigger Toys R Us stores instead of having those smaller ones again. Because largely when KB Toys got decimated, Toys R Us Expresses got started cropping up in place of KB Toys. So all the KB Toys used to be like the smaller stores. I feel like maybe having a bigger store would be a cool experience. I don't know. What do you think? Bigger space or start small again?
I think they have no choice but to start small again. You can't take that risk.
That's fair.
Not this
Yeah, that's
early
a
on the
point.
game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They'll probably, they'll try to grow as quickly as they can, but I don't think that they probably aren't capable of actually making it.
Yeah,
That
I mean they're in
huge.
talks with a lot of carriers. I'm honestly like, you know what? That would be cool. Like it would give us nostalgia or at least me nostalgia boners when we walk into that small store again. And the smaller store means like a really dense looking selection.
Tighter space.
Yeah, okay. But like a denser selection of toys, action figures, what have you. So it looks like there's more without actually there being more. So maybe that's the best way to go.
Yeah, but that's probably for just the collector market,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how it is for like the broader audience, but
I mean, like, if you're a kid, right, you want to walk into a packed store of a store packed with toys. At least I do. That's my dream.
no, I just wanted to have that one copy of the Pokemon game I want, and then I'm just gonna take that and leave.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I think that just about does it for our discussion. Thanks for joining me, boys.
Yep.
If you like this episode, hit that like button and subscribe if you want to hear more from us each week. We normally don't do this, but if it's pressing enough news in any industry that we're interested in, you better bet we're gonna cover it. You better bet. Yep. Anyways, guys, keep it juicy.
See ya.
Later.
Oh, outro scene.